The Federation of Women Lawyers Kenya, FIDA Kenya, says it is dismayed at the continuous violation of the Constitution by the government.
FIDA will now go to court to specifically challenge the appointment of Joel Mboya Kitili, who was sworn in as the Deputy Inspector General of Police yesterday.
Kitili replaced former Deputy Inspector General of Police Grace Kaindi, and FIDA says the appointment is not in spirit of the two-third gender rule.
We're now joined in studio by FIDA's Executive Director, Christine Ochieng, and of course Mutegi Nja will be interviewing her on this matter. 22422 is SMS line, or you can get us on Twitter. Hashtag is Power Breakfast. For now, Mr. Nja.
Thank you very much, Karibu. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
You have an issue with the appointment of the Deputy Inspector General of Police. You had also an issue about the sacking of the previous holder of the office. What is the background about this?
Okay, thank you, Kanye. Just to give a brief background, when Kaindi was sent home, for us, FIDA, what we were saying was that the due procedure ought to have been followed. It ought to have been transparent, and then even if it means that there was an early retirement, everybody ought to have known, because these positions, these offices are creations of the Constitution. But for us, to come back to the issue of Joel Kitili, who was sworn in yesterday, what we were saying is that when you look at Article 27 within the Constitution, it lays down the equality principle. And that Article 27(8), to be specific, talks about the issue of the two-thirds gender principle, saying that in appointive or elective positions, not more than two-thirds ought to be observed. All Kenyans are aware that our Inspector General of Police is a male. So ordinarily, it should have been that the next position should have gone to a female. And what we wondered as FIDA was, the media exposed that there was a private interviews being done. Previously, we've seen interviews being done in public. Even the IG himself was interviewed. We could see in public the media was highlighting what was so secret about interviewing these persons who are being interviewed for the position in public first. Secondly, we know very well that the IG's office and the Deputy IG, these are creations of the Constitution. Why would the National Police Service Commission, which is also a creation of the Constitution, actually flaunt the Constitution and ignore the fact that the gender principle is not being observed? So for us, we are saying that actually it's a serious violation of the Constitution, especially at this given time when we've seen reports with the media, Kenyans saying the issue of the Constitution, and our President yesterday saying very clearly in the media that he respects and upholds the Constitution. So why would an office like why would a commission actually decide to violate when the head of state himself says he respects the Constitution?
What the issue is, the top three. What if we can count the policemen and the policewomen in Kenya and find that we meet the gender principle? Is it not possible that you can count the policemen and the policewomen who are employed in the entire country and find out that despite the fact that we have no top woman at the headquarters, we have achieved the gender principle?
Mr. Kanye, insofar as I do not have the data right now, but I know for sure that it does not adhere to the two-thirds gender principle as it stands right now. And what we are saying is that it's not an issue of maybe the lower level positions. It's an issue of positions distributed evenly from the top level to the lowest level. So for this particular position, we know the IG was already a male. There are two positions of deputy IGs. One should ordinarily have gone to a female.
Does the Constitution say so?
It doesn't say so, but when we follow the spirit of the Constitution that is laid within the Bill of Rights at Article 27, it's very clear about elective and appointive positions. You see, we can't read provisions in isolation. We have to read them in other provisions within the Constitution.
But it looks like this government is not interested in this kind of thing. If you look at what is happening in Parliament, they are trying to create the gender principle, and they have gone to Parliament twice and lost. Why would if you cannot achieve it in Parliament when it comes to electing or the members of the National Assembly? What about the police? It has 1 point or 2.
No, I would say that, you see, at any given time, whichever institution has to observe the Constitution, even if one is not obeying the Constitution, it doesn't mean that the rest should not obey the Constitution. We voted for the Constitution. Kenyans, actually, the majority voted for the Constitution. So when we voted, we ought to have known that we ought to respect it. And it's a living document. It's not something that is being put on the shelves. And you see, what we are saying is that Parliament is actually violating the Constitution, yes. And there are cases in court that the court actually came up when it gave the advisory opinion talking about the two-thirds gender principle and said that it ought to be adhered to by the 27th of August last year. There was an extension for 1 year up to 27th of August this year. From 27th of August, that means that the parliament will not be properly constituted. And we hope that some Kenyans will come forward and actually go to court and say you have no business actually being in parliament because over maybe 70, 80% are the male gender. But you see also, for us we are appealing, we are saying that the head of state should actually crack a whip to some of them, because he's actually the person who's the custodian, who says and reassures Kenyans that he's respected and he wants to uphold it. So we all have, what we are saying as FIDA is that it ought to be respected at any given time.
But you are saying the president is a custodian who is sought to preserve or respect the constitution. But by practical actions by him, he doesn't. Look at the cabinet. We lost Ngilu. We lost the other cabinet secretary. Waiguru. Replaced by who?
But we have a Karaoke who came in.
So in terms of the promotion of cabinet, that's okay as far as...
No, it's not okay, but we are saying that at least it's strive compared to the history before that we used to have like 2 or 3 women within the cabinet. At least there's an improvement, but we are saying that there needs to be more, still needs to be done. He's told me, but more needs to be done, so that at least we get to at least the minimum threshold. What we keep on saying is that there will come a time when maybe the male gender will actually be the one that's judging for the two-thirds gender principle, because it's not an issue of only the female, but there's normally this assumption, and maybe to go back to parliament, Mr. Kanyi, you see the assumption within parliament is that the two-thirds gender principle is only for elective. It's not only for elective, it's also for appointive positions. And that's what we keep on saying, that even when the two-thirds law was failing twice, when you look at those bills keenly, they were more of focusing more of the elective positions. But we should not lose out on the appointive. And we know that there are some institutions that have actually really tried. You see, if you look at the judiciary might have its challenges, but we know for sure that we had a CJ and a DCJ male-female. You see, that was actually a key step, and actually many judges and magistrates are actually female within the judiciary. That is a key institution of government. Parliament, of course, it's a big problem, but we are saying that even the executive also has strived, though has not reached the threshold, but has actually strived. So we are saying that all these appointees, be it the deputy IG, be it even within the board, be it other places, so long as it's appointive, we ought to adhere to that issue of the threshold, because it's really a minimum threshold. And further, maybe to bring it to say again, what about the youth? The youth will also say, we've also not been represented. What about persons with disability? You see, what about the minority? There are many people who keep on saying, and all these things were issues that were raised within the constitution. And these were brought in because we wanted to actually cure the challenges that are there historically. We know that there were injustices historically, and what we are saying is that at least the minimum. And for us as FIDA, we are saying that the only option we should move to court and say Kitili shouldn't have actually had the position, or the National Police Service Commission ought to actually start the process afresh, transparently, because why privately? Transparently, openly, there should be some kind of voting where they advertise the names in the newspaper, people collect their views, maybe members of the public go to the gallery just to say that we want to give input in terms of their appointment, because they are vetting police in public. Why are you appointing in private if you are vetting the police in public?
Maybe you can answer that, but what are you contemplating doing now that we have now a deputy IG in the name of Kitili? What are you going to do? We are going to move to court. That's the only recourse we have, because he was sworn in yesterday. That is the only recourse we have. The recourse is to move to court so that the court can interpret, and give the right direction, because what else can we do? But the court process takes time. You remember in the case of Kaina, the still pending. The cases are still pending, but it doesn't harm to just go back, and then you know, at the end of the day, some of these issues are issues you have to continue talking about them, because if you take a back, it will be like it's the norm. The next time there will be another appointment, it will be like you'll find an old male maybe cabinet one day. We don't know. Thank you very much. Thank you. I think you have made your point. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.